Hi, everyone. Sorry I am late. I have been dealing with website issues probably last Thursday nonstop. I'm losing sleep over it. I think I'm starting to get a cold from all the stress. It's a little ridiculous. In fact, I might have to be toggling back and forth to look at my emails because we have to continue the conversation off of chat, the WordPress support. So if you see me looking a little down, that's why I'm a little dejected over the whole thing. But welcome. Hi, Vegas Moxie. I'm so happy you're here. Thank you and welcome. Yeah, I won't keep you guys too long since I've been so late today. I wanted to start this at 2:40 Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Time, and it is now 4 o'clock. So I won't keep you guys, but I wanted to do a check-in. I wanted to do a check-in to see how everybody is doing with regards to the Seer's tarot study. This has been quite a fun tarot study for me because I love this deck so much. Okay, here's my beat up copy that like my friends lovingly tease me like about. So there's that. And then of course I've got my beloved indie version sitting here. So I am going to take a moment to kind of recalibrate. Gonna run the intro, and while I'm running the intro, see what my kind WordPress support person had to say to me via email. So let me get right to that. Be right back. And we're back. So, yes, I am here. We are here. And yeah, let me just do a little bit of housekeeping here. So, there's a lot of changes going on in my business, going on in my social media world. Sometimes I'm taking social media breaks, sometimes I'm not. And the best way to stay connected with me, especially if you are doing like tarot study. So if you're doing tarot study, sign up for my newsletter. The link is in the description box of this video. And that way you can stay abreast of whatever I'm doing. Sometimes you're taking a social media break. Sometimes you're not in the Facebook group or you're not on YouTube. And so the newsletter is a way for you to stay abreast of things happening with our tarot study, things happening over here on the channel, things going on with Abundant Life Tarot. So yeah, I just have to be sure that I mention that because of all these tech issues, it's making me want to go on a mini vacation. And so, yeah. Welcome. So we are talking about tarot study. So we are now on week 5. And a lot has been going on in the Facebook group. That's where we've been having all of the activities that we're doing related to Seer's tarot study. So if you are just now finding out about our tarot study, do not despair. You can join us whenever you see this video, whenever you hear about Seer's tarot study or Hoodoo tarot study or any of the tarot studies that are hosted here at Abundant Life Tarot. You can join at any time. It is an evergreen tarot study, meaning that if you watch this video a year from now, you can join in, and many of us are still there from the first tarot studies that we've done. And like, I think someone just joined in last week to the group, or was it this week? I think it was this week. And it was mentioned, she mentioned, the new member, that she was working with the Hoodoo tarot study. And we went all in on that tarot study. So there's a lot of good information that she can dig into. And there's a lot of us who are still a part of this group, Abundant Life Tarot group on Facebook, that is ready and willing to help her. In fact, If there are members who are interested in working with the Hoodoo Tarot study, I'm willing to kind of get back to doing some daily draws with it, because I have not been working with it as much as I want, and I'm going to use the tarot study group as a way for me to reconnect with the decks that we've explored before. So for those who, maybe some of you have want to reconnect with the Antique Anatomy Tarot or the Herbcrafters Tarot, you can do that, So we are on the Light Seers Tarot right now, but that does not mean that you have to do that particular tarot study, okay? But we are moving and shaking along here. We've been doing weekly journal prompts. We have been doing daily draws, and there's only a 2-week commitment to do the journal prompts and the daily draws. And that's not a lot. When I realized, I was like, wow, in a blink of an eye, it's done. It's done. But many of us are still called to do the daily draws or work with the deck even after our 2-week commitment, and post pictures and post deep dives into what the interpretations are speaking to us. It's like it really is a private group collective where we really share heart-centered interpretations of the cards. And I am moved often to tears by what is being said. Not like sad, but like so evocative and so informative and so real. And the interpretations are so spot on. It just makes me want to cry tears of relating with the person, and also tears of gratitude that we have formed this space amongst Facebook of all places to feel safe to be able to share what's going on with us, and using this powerful little tool, the Light Seers Tarot, to I'm frozen. Hello, Sneak Tarot. I like your name. I'm frozen. Okay, she said not frozen. Okay, I'm going to start doing what people do I see on live streams. If I'm frozen or if you can't hear me, put a 2 in the chat. If you can hear me and I'm great, put a 1. Number 1 means you're good, you're straight, I can see and I can hear you. Number 2 is like, we got problems. Houston, we got problems. Let me know. Hopefully not. So we have been having a great time. People have been posting their spreads that they're working with, and chiming in on each other's comments. It's been really just spectacular. I'm so grateful for the level of involvement that people have been putting into the study. So thank you, thank you, thank you. In fact, I'm going to confess something. If this didn't go well, I was like, maybe we shouldn't do tarot study anymore. Maybe we should take a big break from it. But because this has gone so well, and honestly, the last ones went well too. I really enjoy all of them. But if I find that people aren't really feeling it, then I'm like, maybe we'll pause. But now I'm excited. I'm excited to see what deck we're going to explore next. And so what happens is, and we'll talk more about this at the wrap party. We do a live stream wrap party of our inaugural group of Light Seers Tarot Study members. That'll be April 7th. So mark your calendars. Thursday, April 7th, we'll be doing the wrap party for this tarot study. And again, you can join even well after that. But what happens is we go on a pause. That gives me a break, because when tarot study's on, I have to make sure I'm available to comment, answer questions. Although my members, you guys are awesome. You chime in questions, you welcome people. So you just are so amazing. You make it where I want to be there and want to keep going and keep leading in these tarot studies. So, but I give myself a break so that way I'm ready, inspired for the next tarot study. And then in that breaks time, it's usually about a month or 2 off, we vote. We suggest decks, and I put them up for vote in the Facebook group and on YouTube. Hello. I hope you can see me. I hope you can see me, Vegas Foxy. Hi, my friend. Hi, Ange. Thank you for being here. I'm so happy you're here. You guys have to check out Ange's channel. It is amazing. So yes, that's what we've been doing. So week 5. So each week, Mondays, I post a journal prompt, and you just work through the journal. You don't have to do daily journal prompts. It's just one time a week, and you don't have to share that in the group, although you are free to share it. Many of us have on the thread of the journal prompt. But you do that. I think next week we're not having a journal prompt, right? No. Next week is the last journal prompt on Monday, because we're going to be entering week 5. I'm getting ahead of myself. So entering week 5, that is the final journal prompt. There will not be a journal prompt for the last week, which is week 6, unless somebody wishes to do one. And yeah, it's kind of making me kind of sad as we come to a close. I mean, we still have some time. And what's fun for me, and you all could feel the same way is that when new people come on and they're working on decks we've worked on in the past, and they're all doing their daily posts, or they're posting, or finding resources to share, I get all excited again about those past decks that we work. And I think this time, especially with the hoodoo, I'm going to be engaging with those who are joining for the first time with the tarot study. So yeah. Yay. Hola. Welcome. I'm happy you're here. Thank you. Oh, you are so sweet. Thank you for saying that. I was like, today I was feeling so defeated, Ange, with my website. It has been giving me nothing but issues. And it makes you when you start having those significant kind of tech issues, it makes you question like everything. Like, what am I doing? Like, is it all worth it? What is going on? And so this is a happy space for me, actually. YouTube is where things are at least going right. Yay, I'm happy you can see me. Okay, so I wanted to ask you all, for those who either have worked with the Light Seers Tarot, what are your favorite aspects about working with it? And then those who are in part of the tarot study, what have you loved most about doing this particular tarot study, this particular time? I know we've talked about what we loved about, say, the Hoodoo Tarot study in the past, but we're talking about the Light Seers. So share with me in the comments, and I will, I guess, share with you what my favorite part has been so far. Honestly, with this particular tarot study, it has been reading everybody's beautiful posts and seeing their pics. The journal prompts, you guys use these virtual journals that I'm jealous, and I'm feeling like I'm lagging. I need a virtual journal now in my life. Not that I'm always going to still handwrite in journals, because I've been doing that since I can write as a wee little girl. But y'all, those who have shared your virtual journals, I am so in love. So that's been exciting for me. It's been exciting for me and touches my heart when I see other people interacting with one another. And the deck has just been, another thing that's been cool is that I've been able to slow down a bit in this tarot study, where I can study the images and go deeper than I have. You would think that as much as I love this deck and as much as I've used this deck, that I would have studied it a bit more. But as soon as I got it, I started working with it on client readings, hence why it's so beat up. And I didn't really pay attention to the details. But the tarot study, what I like to do is post every other day now, but usually every day, different pictures from the minors of the cards, or sometimes the majors. But and then I might even post up a Smith weight accompanying the card that, so if it was the Three of Swords Light Seers, and I'll find the Three of Swords in the borderless Smith weight, or I'll pull off one of my other decks and put a picture there. So that has been fun for me. So I could pause and see the pictures really blown up and looking at the details and comparing and contrasting and seeing what I take from it and learning from everybody's interpretations of the cards. And it's just been amazing. Amazing. And I have created the course series. So each tarot study that we do, I like to create for us, for our group, for the peoples who will eventually work with this deck or work with any deck. Honestly, you could take those particular videos like the court cards and apply those lessons to any deck you're working with. I did the same thing for the Antique Anatomy, where I looked at tarot and numerology, tarot correspondences, the elements, color correspondences. All of those are at the top, pinned in the Facebook group. So if you just kept hitting that little plus button and keep going through, you'll see all of those resources. So you can, so that was fun for me to make as well, because I fell even more in love with the course than I have been before. Hello, Kanisha. Welcome. I'm happy you are here. One of our Facebook group members. I've been enjoying the study group. I've definitely reconnected with my deck. I also have the Hoodoo deck, but not done much with it. So I will be looking back at your study group for that soon. And I think you might be the member who I was thinking of. And so when you do, Kanisha, when you're ready to post and do those posts for the Hoodoo Tarot study, I will be working with you and posting again, because I'm going to take the opportunity when people start working with the Hoodoo Tarot study to also work with it, to compel myself to work with it. I use the Hoodoo Tarot in a specific way, and that is with ancestral or family readings for me. And I had a beautiful altar space, 2 altars at my old place in Sacramento, and I don't have that yet. And I'm not around my immediate family, and I haven't had a lot of time to do ancestral veneration like I have been in Sacramento. So I haven't really been called to use the deck. But that doesn't mean it's not a great deck. It's an absolutely powerful deck, and I will love it and cherish it. But I want to stay and practice with it. I haven't gotten the Hoodoo Tarot. Well, if you do, you have a tarot study and about 400 posts in the Facebook group that are tagged for Hoodoo Tarot study that you could just dive right into. So we went hard for the Hoodoo Tarot study. I think we're sitting at about 150 posts right now with the Light Seers Tarot. So you have a lot of resources for those of you who are called to use the Hoodoo Tarot. I'm from the UK, so I'm not sure if I can connect with the Hoodoo Tarot. And I can understand that. You could do a deck interview with your own existing deck that you have, like the Light Seers, and you can ask, questions like, will I get along with the Hoodoo Tarot? When would be a good time, if you do timing in your readings? When would be a good time to add it? If there is a good possibility we're going to work well together. And I consult my other favorite decks when I'm considering adding a new deck. I've heard that where people say it's regional and they're not sure if it's going to work for them. Or some people say, oh, it's Hoodoo. They're not sure. But honestly, I think even though it may be regional to the Southern United States, and it is, it talks about Hoodoo, it's still a deck that I see people from all walks of life embracing and loving. So there's that. But, I want it to be the right decision for you. Scarlet Moon Creations. I'm midway through week 2. I'm Lachette with the digital. Okay. The digital journal spreads, which, man, I was like, I love it, love. You guys are so awesome for that. You led the charge. I was like, this is amazing. How was I sleeping on this? How did I know about these amazing digital journal spreads? Yeah, I love the colors, right? The colors are so vivid. Let me see. Let me pick up. Oh, so vivid. I love the colors. Love, love, love. No borders. I mean, my copy is so banged up. Look at that, you guys. I was talking to one of my friends in group about my deck, and we were laughing at how bent up mine is. And I had said, I'm going to bust out my backup copy and see how I get along with it, but I'm nervous that I'm going to ask you guys this. In terms of if you had a backup copy of a deck, does it still feel the same? And I asked this question, I think, before, but does it feel the same when you use your new backup? And what I mean by you feel the same, like does the readings just still pop? Do you still feel connected to the deck? Or does it feel like it's a new and different relationship? Does that make sense? Because I'm nervous. It's like my old ratty blanket. It's when when you're a kid and you have that old ratty teddy bear or little your security blanket, and it's like torn up, and your mom needs to wash it, but she can't pry it from your hands because you're like, no, it's my security blanket. That's this copy of the Light Seers for me. Let me tell you, Lachette, you inspire me in a major way with your digital journal spreads. Just saying. I'm impressed. That was me. And yours are, oh, Kanisha, I love the colors, your spreads. Like, you did the deck interview with the Light Seers, and with the way you saw with the question and the card, and it blew my mind because it was like it was talking to me, your deck interview. And I was like, yep, yep. I have the same feels about my deck as what's coming up in your deck interview. I was just like, I got a chill just now just thinking about it. So I need to get this into my life, you guys, because I think for the next tarot study, I want to do that. I want to be like you guys when I grow up. I want to be like you. And the modern interpretations have me liking cards I don't usually yes, indeed. I agree with you. We kind of touched upon it today in the group about, I think it was the Seven of Cups. I'm not typically a fan of the Seven of Cups. I should have had it ready. Not typically a fan, but this card, the Light Seers Seven of Cups, actually has me liking that card of the Rider-Waite Smith. And the reason being is his pensive look, and he's like this, like he's really pondering and considering what he should do. Where should he go? What decision should he make? All these different options that tug at the heart. Where does he go? And then you've got this watery element. And so it really speaks more to me than the traditional Seven of Cups. It's not that I totally understand the Seven of Cups meaning, totally get it, but I just don't like it. I don't know why. There's a few other cards in the traditional deck that I'm like, me. but the Light Seers helps me to be like, okay, I like this card more than I thought. I love the energy of the Light Seers. I thought it was a happy deck, but found it's a lot deeper than you're not the first person who said that. Actually, I hear that often. A lot of times people thought, this is a happy deck. It's fluffy, but I thought, you could easily think that, like with the box. I can't remember. I don't have it. I don't have the mass market. But yeah, you could just, but look at that. Look at that. Oh my goodness. I don't know. It's a lot deeper, and it works amazingly well from my client readings. It doesn't matter if it's a love reading. It doesn't matter if it's a career reading or a life purpose or a spiritual type reading. It just delivers in a beautiful way. I resonate so deeply with it. This card came up in a reading I did yesterday, and it it just spoke like the lady was really grieving the demise of a relationship. The guy just completely stopped communicating with her. She was really having a difficult time. And one of the questions was, what is spirit guidance for you? And this was the card that jumped. And, I was able to go all in with this Six of Swords. It really delivers. And I think not only do I enjoy looking at the images and loving the colors, I love colorful decks. I just do. But I know my querents and the people I read for, I think they really appreciate the vibrant colors, the modern images, the contemporary images, like they could see themselves in the scenes. I think they appreciate it too. I could see myself in the scenes, like love the Nine of Pentacles that I just showed. I'm really impressed. And the guidebook is so amazing. It's so amazing. Now I'm taking it back out. I mean, it's so chunky. I've been finding that during our tarot study, unless I had a quick question, I go to this guidebook for the interpretations. I have on my bookshelf the little one from the mass market, which is just fine. But because I'm trying to honor my love of the light seers during the season, I've been going to the guidebook here, and I'm just impressed. It's quite impressed. This is going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult to see what deck that we end up choosing for the next tarot study, because some of the decks that we've been picking so far are like true difficult acts to follow. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. No, the same have to build the relationship back up. No, not the same. See, okay, thank you. I thought so. And I don't usually do backup decks. So I don't really know. And I wondered about that. Have I had? Oh, there is one. My Power of Surrender Oracle, which is under a stack of mini decks. I won't knock them down. So there is one, but I did kind of have to build a relationship back up now that I think about it. But I know some people always have lots of backup decks. I just don't. I have a lot of decks that need to be used that haven't hardly been used. So there's been no need for a backup for them. So thank you. Thank you for answering my question. I wondered. Your comfort item. That's right. That's right. And so I feel like if I separate from this, what kind of readings am I going to do? And it's like when also, if you worked in a workplace that had computer system updates on a regular, and then they're like, okay, we've got a new release coming out, you guys, you gotta have to embrace it. You're gonna have to embrace this new release, and you know that it's gonna change everything, your whole workflow, your whole, like how you had everything set up on your desktop. You just know it's gonna cause a lot of change. And you know that week of work of dealing and adapting is gonna be a little bit of a struggle, and you kind of dread it. So that's another thing that I like in it too, which is why I keep beating this one up. But it still works. And so I guess once it falls completely apart, then that's when I'll replace it. Oh my goodness. It feels new to me. Always takes time to reconnect. Thank you. I wondered. And I bet you other people wonder too. So I'm glad I asked. And now I really know. Now it's going to sink in. Yes, it feels like a new deck completely. Hey, self-discovery support. Look at my new peoples. Kay Graham, thank you for coming and hanging out with me. Thank you all for your patience as I deal with my WordPress issues. I can't even look at the email. I see the email going. I'm like, I'll deal with y'all in a moment. My website. Yes, it feels like a new deck completely. I have new backups of Illuminated Tarot, which I love and don't touch thin at all. Exactly. It's like, well, I guess when I really need to touch you, then I will. Like if God forbid something happened to my security blanket light seers tarot, then, there's a tear in the cards or something like that, and I can't shuffle them anymore, then it's time for the upgrade. Yeah, my Light Seers deck is something special. I agree. Well, hello, Tony. Thank you for joining. How are you doing? How is it going? We're just shooting the breeze about the Light Seers Tarot, what we're loving about it, what we're loving about the tarot study, if we're part of it. It's going to have to be Marielle, perhaps. Yes. Are you saying Marielle? Do tell. Do tell. Yes, Marielle. That would be a challenge. Yeah. I have the Marielle. Actually, I know, and I'm grateful for those YouTubers, and this is an aside, but I think it is important for me to say it so I remember. Um, I've been really wanting to connect with it, and I am grateful that there are YouTubers in our tarot tube world who have been taking the charge of digging into the Marielle. And I have a dear friend who gifted me the first edition and the most recent edition. So I have both. I have both of them. And I guess I have to figure out which one calls to me, which edition is speaking to me, and then start to build that relationship. So, it's just an interesting thing. So, what do they call it? Is it animist when you personify your things? I do personify my things, especially my decks. Especially my decks. Let me make sure. So, what are the challenging parts or the challenging cards? And I'm watching the time, making sure I don't keep you guys all day. But what are some challenging cards, challenging aspects of the tarot study, or challenging, difficult cards to get into? It still has been difficult to get into, even working with the tarot study. Share that in the comments section. Oh, thank you, Tony. Now that I finally have them here, because remember, my Marielle copies were in the States for the longest time at my parents' house. So back in December, I went to go visit them, and that was the decks, one of the decks. Well, there are two of them, but they came back. So now I can put them up for the vote and hopefully try to campaign that we dig into the Marielle. I would love that. I need that, because what would be interesting for me is going into a deck that I know of the images. If you've been in the tarot world, you've seen and heard about the Marielle a lot, but it is a deck that I don't really know. I was gifted it just like, what was it, the beginning of 2020? Yes. Or was it 2021? Oh, it was when the pandemic hit. Yes. So March 2020. I haven't really got a chance to get to know it. So it'll be a stark, like, opposite of what I've been going through with the Light Seers Tarot, because I know and use the Light Seers Tarot on the daily. So I agree. Let's see if we can make that happen, Tony. What do you say? What say all the group? Because I'm already persuaded. I have the first edition and just ordered the second. Yes. So my friend, I was like so honored that she let me have her copy. And she trimmed, was it the first edition? So she trimmed and etched it, which was great for me, because that was one of the reasons I hemmed and hawed, because it looked a little too big. You know how Red Feather, or is it Red Feather? Schiffer. You know how they do us with them big old cards. And it's like, this is a tarot deck. How am I supposed to shuffle this? So she had already trimmed it, and then the second edition is smaller and more my speed. So but I like the cards in the Marielle, like from the first edition. There's certain key cards. Was it the Hierophant? I appreciate more in the first edition than I did in the second edition. Okay, cool. I agree. I need it. I want to connect with that deck. So I keep looking up there because it's sitting up on the top shelf, just waiting for me to say, okay, it's time. The swords are an adjustment because of all the crows. They blend in so seamlessly. I forget to notice them. That is a real thing that you mentioned, because You're right. We're not seeing like traditional swords. We're seeing crows. And because she did such a beautiful job, she being Chrisanne Donnelly, you're like, huh? Oh, like here's the Knight of Swords. I could see that. I could see that. Let me see. I don't see. You know, it's interesting. In the Four of Swords, unless I'm completely blind, I don't see a. I don't see a crow. I see a nest. Does that count? I see a nest, but I don't see a crow. Let me see. You're right, though. This one kind of is clear because she's got the two crows kind of squawking in her ear and her eyes are closed and they're very close to her. But I see what you mean. Ah, here's another one. You're right. I agree. I concur on that point. Let's see. I was doing daily draws with Marielle a couple of years ago. That would be a good idea for me to do and to probably do, if we're preparing for that deck for the next tarot study, I need to start doing that like today. Maybe consulted around tech, my major tech issues that I've been having in the last 5 days. Maybe the Marielle can give me some divine wisdom about it, or at least ways to cope and be patient. I love the colors. Some images are a bit out there. I think it's a good challenge deck. I agree. It's in your face, the Marielle, kind of affronting with some of the images. And you're like, oh, how do I feel about what I'm seeing here? I try not to look at editions I don't have so I don't have FOMO. Exactly. I agree. And I'm finally on one of those places in my deck collecting journey where I'm like, oh, like for example, the Oracle of Echoes, I know added additional cards, which is great, for those who are just now getting the deck. But there was a little tug inside of me, like, I want those cards. But then I was like, girl, you good. You have your deck. Just simmer down. Simmer down. I think the crows tell their own story. Yeah, they do. They do. Oh, we should explore just what the story. Oh, you know what? On Saturday, I think it's Saturday. What's the 25th? No, tomorrow. Tomorrow, we start to focus on the swords in the Facebook group for the tarot study. Okay. So I like that. I'm going to put that. Let's talk about the crows and what story. Talk about crows and what story they are telling in the cards. They are telling. I don't know why that strikes me as something beautiful to explore in the particular card. Okay. Thank you. They do. They do. With the Five of Wands, I love how it's an assault course to reach the next phase. Me too. I actually, what's funny? The Five of Wands came up in that reading I did yesterday. I mentioned about the Six of Swords, and it was so just easy to read it for me in that reading. It was so, where are you? It's going to play hide and seek with me, of course. I'm like, come on, don't play hide and seek with me. But I like it too. Somebody called it, like, it looked like, was it Pick Up Sticks, the game? And I was like, oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, I love what you said though with the Five of Wands. I love how it's an assault course to reach the next phase. That's a beautiful interpretation and take on the Five of Wands, by the way. Yeah, right? And so that is with the Page, where are you? With the Page of Swords, of course, again, you're going to play hide and seek with me, aren't you? Come on. Isn't the Page of Swords, isn't it yellow, like mainly? Like, the background. Let me see, are you there? Of course you are. Yeah, you're right. What are these little sparrows? I'm like, what? That is interesting. I wonder what that's about. I wonder if the book mentions that about the birds. Because you're right, they are different. Hmm. Not that I see. It's interesting. It begs the question, why the different little birds? Maybe they're little baby birds? I don't know, but they're not, you're right. They're not crows. They are not crows. Every time I see the Five of Wands, I think of gladiators or American Ninja Warrior. For real, right? Because they got those little pants on and they're like, doing this. And, oh, anyways, that's my bad interpretation or bad, you know, what is it? What is that? Imitation of what they do. Bad. Pickup sticks is a good one too. Yeah, someone pointed out, I was like, yeah, I see that. Because I think for some of us with the Five of Wands, we're like, what is going on here? But then when we're in a tarot study, it's an opportunity to see what other people are seeing. And then it helps us to say, oh, ha ha, I get it. I see that now. And so that's why I like to slow down and look at these decks. This is why I love to host tarot studies because we get a chance to deep dive into decks that we have and not just to deep dive into that particular deck, but to help in deepening our understanding of the meanings and, just I don't know, build that connection on multiple fronts, multiple levels. Let's see. I only have the mass market, so the small book, and that's okay. Normally, again, I just keep the little one on my bookshelf and consult it from time to time. I used to keep it on my nightstand by my bed, but because this was a special occasion, I was like, I'm going to use my guidebook from my fancy, the indie version, because why not? But typically, I just use the little book, and I'm telling you, you're not missing out on anything. I only found because I was curious if is there any major difference aside from just the truncated text? And there was one hidden spread in this book that wasn't in the smaller mass market guidebook. And I ended up sharing it in the Facebook group. So there's that. I'm like, so you're not missing anything. In fact, my indie version just sits on my shelf, to be perfectly honest, which is kind of a shame. Kind of a shame. Five of Wands is youngsters practicing to be men. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, I could see that. Like in little sparring that you do, and sometimes when I had boys. I have two sons, and growing up, they had their friends, and maybe play fighting and doing all that stuff. And it's playful, but sometimes it could get a little serious, and then people get a little mad, and then sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's all fun. So I think of that. I think of that with the Five of Wands. The website refers to them as, yeah, oh, wait. The website refers to them as small birds and that they sing bird song to distract her. Interesting. Yeah, so it's probably hard for her to be on that little tight, she's on it looks like a tightrope, but I don't think it's a tightrope. It's like a pole. And so they're like, blah, 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 distractions, but she's really trying to maintain her focus. I could see that. I could see that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That's helpful, actually, because that was going to kind of drive me crazy. I'm like, what are they talking about? Why are they talking? I don't understand. Why is there different birds? There's also that great connection of the red thread of life going from 3 to 4 of swords, with the 3 of 4 of swords. Oh, you are right. That thread of life. Oh, yeah. And some people, I think she did that beautifully with the three of swords to the four of swords, of course, is hiding for me again. Here's the four. Just have the three. Where are you? Of course you're hiding. Of course I shuffled it. There you are. I love like that little heart on the string. Look at that. I see what you mean. Isn't that cool? Hold on. Align it. Look at that. You see what I'm saying? How you all point out these things, and I'm like, oh my God, look. You see how it connects? Oh wait, how am I going to do this where you guys can see it? Hopefully you can see what I'm talking about. You see what we're talking about here. See how it connects? That's awesome. Oh, I love it. I love that. Oh, I just love this deck so much. The website refers to them as small birds and they sing. Yes, thank you for checking on that. Because I was like, what? Yeah, still, I guess maybe it's the distractions part. So when I was studying and preparing for the courts, the little mini series I did for our tarot study, and the pages, they don't always, and that makes sense too. They don't always stay focused. They're distracted, and they can fall easily off the course of their new inspiration, right? And so I could see where she's going with that. But again, it doesn't explain the different birds. It's her sword she's balancing on. Now I gotta go back. I gotta go back. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I was like, it's not a tightrope, but the way she's like walking on it, it looks, how you tiptoe. I used to always be fascinated by when I see people tightrope, and they walk across. I don't know why it fascinates me so much. Can you see that? Yeah, it does appear to be a sword. Huh, interesting. So modern and fresh too. But are the distractions good or bad in the Page of Swords? Well, I guess it depends on how you look at it, and depends on maybe the question and maybe the query who's involved and all of that good stuff. On one hand, the distractions can be like, no, you don't need distractions. But on the other hand, sometimes like me, I think, did I get the Page of Swords this week? Sometimes, I think I did get the Page of Swords. Sometimes you need some distractions to get off your mind, get out of your anxiety-filled brain. So I think it could be either way, I think. Oh yes, no need for crows. I'm still on the majors and barely used this deck before now. Yeah, it's I'm glad that you have an opportunity to get to use it. And that's another thing that's cool about the tarot study, is that we use it amongst ourselves. Maybe the next go round for the next tarot study is if people want to do readings for one another. That's fine. I just use it as a self exploration for myself, almost like journal entries for the daily post. But I suppose if you want to do, readings amongst yourselves, that's something to consider that we do in the future, or you could do tomorrow, or do it for the next tarot study. I don't know. That's something to think about. I don't think I'd like to walk on a sword, and nor a tightrope, and not without a net, and not without some proper shoes on a sword. So Page of Swords is literal in the need for balance. I think so. and when we're dealing with the mind, the swords is dealing with the ideas, the new mind, so pages are new beginnings, new thoughts, stepping out on new ideas. And maybe you probably get caught up in all the flurry of the whole new idea, but you're not balancing and grounding it with actual doing or actual focus. Balance. I'm definitely in a Page of Swords moment in my life right now. Yeah, I don't think a sword is that much better than a tightrope when there's nothing beneath you for show, right? I need some proper shoes and a net. And she's barefoot. She's like delicately stepping. You'd have to. It's like, oh, that could make an interesting card and a new deck. You know, walking on with hot coals. So maybe for the fire suit, someone. I feel like I have a deck that has that element. Is that the Gaian tarot? I feel like, where you have to be gentle and tender as you take steps. Anyways, let me make sure I cover everything. Continue doing your draws, even past your 2-week point. I know I am, because I want to stay continuously, be in a presence in the group and support those who are just starting out on the tarot study. And even if you don't feel called to do any more daily draws past your 2-week commitment, you chiming in means the world to the person who gets the comment on their post in the group. And it means the world to me, because I'm like, oh, you guys are engaging with one another. I'm so grateful. So, continue to do that. Continue to come up with ideas on how you envision the next tarot study going, because I'm always open to suggestions to make it more fun and engaging and all that good stuff. And you guys have just been so amazing. Just so amazing with your posts and your support of one another. And like I said, we're going to be doing our wrap-up party, because we got to have a party for our live, it's a live stream, obviously. But we'll be getting together, celebrating that we, as a group, made it through our most recent tarot study. So that is cause for celebration. So we will be doing that on Thursday, April 7th. And I will be soon, not this week, not until we're wrapping up the Light Seers Tarot, but I'll be sending out, either on the YouTube community tab or in the Facebook group or on my Facebook page or on my website, if I can get my website to work already, the submission form, so you can submit ideas. Many of you have already submitted fabulous ideas of decks that we could do for our next tarot study. But you know what? Honestly, I have to check to see if the Marielle is one that has been suggested. I feel like that would be one. I feel like it. But I got to double check. So don't be shy when I send that out. Keep a lookout for it, because I always post it periodically so you guys could submit them. And then I code through them. And I'm like, okay, these are the ones we're voting on next. And then, get your friends and everybody to vote. So that we can get a good deck in there for the next tarot study. And that's pretty much it. Let me see what else you guys are saying. I often see the Page of Swords in this deck as a true Gemini multitasking, for sure. So my mom, and I love her to pieces, and my son, my youngest son, not my youngest child, but my youngest son, they are both Geminis, and very much Geminis, very much air. I'm an Aquarius, so I'm an air sign as well. But you're right. This Page of Swords, when I see it, I do think of my son. I think of my mom. Very much true Gemini energy to me. I'm glad you said that, because I totally resonate with that statement. Being that I'm sandwiched in pose similar to the Fool, and yet you can feel the uncertainty, unlike the trust from the Fool, right? And don't you love Fool moments in life where you're like, I don't know, I'm just gonna do it. Like I know I should be a little cautious, but I'm going to throw caution to the wind, and I'm just going to have faith. Whereas you can literally see where she's got her book in her hand, she's gingerly walking. Definitely a different energy. And according to my little handy sheet over here, the Fool card is representing an air time frame of January, like roughly January 21st to February 20th for me. And so I like how you tied that in, the Fool, with what we see here with this Page of Swords. If I had, where is she? I don't know if I have time to find her. Our Fool card. Like you could see she's totally kind of surrendering and I'm just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna fall back. I think, right? I think that's how. I can't find her. Of course I can't. Of course. Where are you? Nowhere to be easily found. Yeah. Yes, Scarlett, she's unaware of her surroundings, so engrossed in the book, not the edge of the cliffs. Ooh, yeah, you're right. Maybe head in the books, bookworm. That could be very air element too, right? Maybe they're trying to distract her, like you were saying. They're trying, like the little birds are doing their singing and whatnot. Like you need to be paying attention to what's going on around you. Maybe that's what that is. What about an oracle deck? Oh, an oracle deck would be nice. Not as intense, probably, as a tarot study, but no, let me rephrase that, because some oracle decks can be quite deep. And I suppose we could put it up. If you are feeling like you want to do an oracle deck, we could do an oracle deck. I'm not opposed to it. It's called tarot study, but I guess I could change it to deck study, right? I guess I could change it to deck study versus tarot study. I'll think about that. But we could do also, just so you know, and then I'm going to watch the time. We've got 3 minutes. Also, you can lead mini deck studies in the group, okay? Any member can lead a mini tarot study. And I'm going to encourage you guys to do that. I can lead a mini oracle study too. So that's something we could do in between tarot studies. So that's an idea as well. We've already had one of our members lead a mini tarot deck study with the Uncommon Tarot. I still need to go back and do those posts. I really want to spend more time with the Uncommon Tarot too. So if you think of some oracle decks, let's put it up for a vote within the group and see what people are thinking about. Maybe switch. I'm not opposed to it. Please save live chat for replay. I definitely will. I'm going to save the live chat. I think I need to go and change the settings, right? So people can be able to see what we've been chit-chatting about. That way, those who weren't able to make it during this live stream and who are watching a replay later, you can check out that chat. I gotta make sure I do that. I hope that's an easy setting. Do I have to set that up in StreamYard? Settings. I don't think so. Maybe it's on YouTube. Maybe it's YouTube. Can't compare to a tarot system, but study would be more individual to the deck, and comparing thoughts would be cool. That's right. And that's why I was thinking like a mini study would be great. We could still do even videos or live streams here about the Oracle, deck that we're doing and studying. So I'm not opposed. I think it's a great idea. There's some Oracle decks that I would love to deep dive. I have some probably polarizing Oracle decks too. See, as the dog tries to distract the fool. Yes, that's the grander scheme of it, right? You're right. They're like the little yapper dog. Like, look at me, come over here, do this, pay attention to me. And meanwhile, the fool is like, oh no, I can't be bothered with that. Anyone have the Witch's Oracle? I don't. I've heard of it. Would that be a good one, Tony? Would that be a great one to consider for a study, a deck study? I've heard of it. I've heard people say good things about it. I don't have it yet. I don't have a lot of decks as of late. So that don't let that be the judge of things, because I do not. One day maybe. That's right. Uh-oh. I froze a bit. You know how this thing goes. I hope you guys can see me. I just want to thank you all again from the bottom of my little baby heart. um, I just want to thank you all so much, and I hope you guys can see me as I'm saying goodbye. You guys really mean a lot to me. The beautiful things that you say, the supportive environment that you create here on YouTube and in the Facebook group. I am so grateful. I really am. I get lately, because I've been like dealing with a lot of issues, tech issues. I've been like kind of weepy and emotional. But the bright spot is my community. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for being such a fun part of this tarot study. And I'm loving all the ideas that you guys are sharing. Don't forget to join me for the wrap party, but you guys will get notices on that. And don't forget to, submit suggestions for decks or ideas. The form is not just for decks, it's also for ideas. So don't forget, because I like to get all your suggestions. That's the air side in me. I want share. No. Yes, share. Let me see. Yeah, it surprised me. I ignored it for as long as possible. Yeah, okay. Oh, I'm curious. The Witch's Oracle. My deck collection is the even mix of tarot and oracle, but it's small. I have 20. Oh, I wish I had 20. Would have made my life a lot easier. But it's nice to have a nice little mix of the both. I do have a nice mix now of both. It used to be quite oracle heavy in my collection, and now it's a good solid mix. It is more of a personal oracle than reading for others, which would be perfect for our group, our Facebook group, because of the kind of introspective work that we do. And, so the Witches, let me write down the Witches Oracle. I know I've heard of it because I have friends, I think, who also have it. Thank you for facilitating. You are so welcome. I couldn't do it without you guys. If you weren't there, then it'd be like, be just off here doing it by myself. So maybe submit your oracle list to see how many are in common in the group. Yes, I think that's a great idea, Tony. Thank you. I think that's a fabulous idea, because that way we could see which ones we all have in common. And then that way we're not encouraging folks to buy decks that they may or may not use if they already have it. That's what I really like to promote. Now, of course, if this has been a deck that's on your wish list, or you find out and you're like, oh yeah, I want that. Okay, go for it. But it would be nice to see what decks we all have in common. So that could be our next thing. You know how they do like with book clubs. Like know some book clubs I used to be a part of, they would buy me books, but I had some that I used to be a part of back in the day, where we would be like, well, what book do you have? Similar books. So it was kind of easier to do that versus just like a big, group of folks who don't necessarily hang out with each other. But we do virtually. Yeah, me too. I do like to have decks that I can use them a standalone. And there are some powerhouse oracle decks that you can do that. And I like oracle decks that I can use in tarot readings, and then, when they talk with the oracle decks. And I like just sometimes just using an oracle deck. And I do have some that I do. So yeah, that's a fantastic idea. Is that Sally Morningstar's Oracle? Man, I wish there were libraries for decks, right? I think my public library before the pandemic hit, they were starting to have like very like, I think they had like one or two decks. It was random and it was weird. And I was like, what are they doing here? But I was excited to see where the possibilities. It was a public library. What I'm planning to do out here, it kind of has something similar, but I'm gonna be strict. Y'all, I mean, I'm gonna have strict like policies and fines and fees. Because if something happens to my deck, it's gonna be a problem. I'm just kidding. Or maybe they could just use it here. They could come and just kind of, use it here, or use it for a few nights and bring it back to me. Maybe I have no business having a library. Maybe that's what that means. Okay, good. So that's Sally Morningstar's Oracle. Okay, make a note of that. Mental note. A tarot library is needed, right? Wouldn't that be cool? And then, of course, there'd have to be the librarian who has to check and make sure all the cards are there. And when the thing is returned back, the deck is returned back. Because that would suck. Like, you check it out and then you get a 75 card deck when it's 78. That would be a problem. I have the Lantern Oracle. That one would be amazing. I know a lot of people love the Lantern Oracle. It's up there too. It's up there. We could do that one. Hey, my friend. Speaking of the wonderful member in our group who hosted the Uncommon Tarot Oracle, or Oracle Uncommon Tarot. See what I'm saying? Got too much on the brain. So I need to do that. Hi, you guys, you're joining me just as I'm getting ready to wrap up the live stream. My peeps. I don't want it to be too long. Nobody's going to want to watch the replay later. I'm glad you guys came, though. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing okay. And share in the comment section or in our Facebook group. I'm going to post this video in the Facebook group. And so then you guys can share. We can continue the conversation over there. Because we talked about some fun, good stuff today. And I'm so happy you joined me. I'm so sorry it was late. I'm scared to look at the email. Let me see. What did they say? Oh, good. It's just one email. Yay. All right. Let me see. I'm sitting out Seer's Tarot, but loving the images posted. I understand. Oh my goodness, you went hard during our tarot studies. And so it's okay to sit them out as well. That's fine. Say okay. We were just also talking about potentially doing like little mini Oracle deck studies. And so we'll be doing that. And also thinking ahead to what decks we would like to see for the next tarot study. So we've been doing that today too, just so you know. So that's been fun. But yeah, it's been so touching, you guys. I think with each tarot study, I think we get a little bit closer. The bond gets a little bit stronger in our group. And we are small but mighty. And I love it that way. Thank you. I needed that. I have a nice gentleman who's been very helpful so far. But man. I hope he didn't get off work. I hope he's still at work right now because I'm about to bug him again with the email. Like, don't leave me. Don't leave me. Outgrow Yourself Tarot. Oh, yes. I know of that one. Well, the little pairing. And so, is that indie? That's an indie deck, right? Or that's an indie pairing. The Outgrow Yourself? Or is it? I don't think it's mass market. Yay. Well, you guys, I guess I'm going to let you go now. I went way over. I went 10 minutes over, but I will make sure that the live chat feature is available so you all can see how we were chatting and what was discussed. And if you're watching a replay in YouTube world, don't hesitate to leave a comment. I am watching the comments like a hawk and responding. And ask questions. And if you are just now hearing about our tarot study group, head on over to Abundant Life Tarot group on Facebook and join and get in the mix because we would love to have you. All right, guys. Take very good care of yourselves. Don't be like me and stress the hell out and lose sleep. Get outside, take a brisk walk. I think after this, after I email Victor at WordPress, I'm going to go out and walk a couple of laps and get some sunshine because I have been in here in this reading room day after day for like a week. I think that's also the problem. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to get into the Facebook group and see what you all have been up to. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's indie deck. That's good to know. I'm in need of a good indie deck. It's been a while. It's been a while, you guys. I haven't bought anything in a minute since November. That's a long time for me. Woosah. You know, I have to hear that. I had a coworker who used to tell me, woosah. And I'm like that. I'd be like that. You are welcome. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. You guys know me well. I'm holding my breath. Ouch, WordPress is painful, ain't it? It made me start thinking about all my decisions. Like, I should just get on another platform. I don't even need a website. What do I need a website for? I need a website though, but you know, you just get all up in your head. You know, that's the air sign in me. Woodshed, right? Woodshed. We've all been there. Thank you. Thank you for relating. Woosah, woodshed. Tech is made by people and we are flawed. Yeah, that's true. And it was nice and comforting to know it was nothing I broke this time. They were like, oh no, there's some significant issues going on behind the scenes. And so they're working on it. I'm grateful for that. Yeah, see you guys soon. Yeah. Oh, you gave up twice? I'm trying to hang in there, Tony. I am. All right, my friends, for all this time. Mwah. Love you all and stay sweet. And I'll see you all around. Bye for now.